Pow Wow, yo, yippee, yay, guys. Power number 12, and I'm super excited to be with you guys today. As always, we'll dive into the love of the community, then talk about what is happening on the markets, and talk about what is happening with SwissBorg Network. Of course, there's some alpha deals that will be revealed, some new tokens listing that's happening, and most importantly, we're celebrating our 4th anniversary of the SwissBorg app that is changing the world, bringing financial independence to everyone. As you guys know, my name is Cyrus Fuzel. I'm the proud founder and CEO of SwissBorg, always here to serve you. Question of the week, and this has to be to a lot of people, is essentially, long story short, how do we make the alpha deals better? And long story short, there's multiple ways to make it better, but it will never suffice. Let's make it clear. The alpha deal has a very small amount of supply and a huge amount of demand. So you could never fit in a car 12 people if it's just a regular car which takes 5 people, right? So you were always going to be into an area what's going to be difficult. I think so, though. There's a lot of things on canceled transactions that could be done in a better way. There's the precise vaults that'll be done in a better way, like with the Borger rank. As you guys know, this is a new way. Well, essentially, people will be able to, based on how much Borg you're holding you'll be able to be eligible and have a better chance to get into these different vaults. There's a lot of different ideas that we are pouring. There's some that thought about, like, for example, you could smart send blindly, for example, some Borg tokens into a vault that would eventually burn, and the top 100 people that send those tokens that will be burned, then eligible for a special vote. So there's a lot of great things. I like to hear your ideas. Of course, again, it's very hard to bring the best projects. Second, it's even harder to get a big amount of allocation on these, right? I fear the demand was huge. We'll talk about this a bit later, but it's really very, very difficult to do so. So I think so. Apologies for those that don't get into these deals. I know that even me personally, I was selected for 5 vaults, I think so, and I only got 1 vault, and it was a small location on Ethereum. So that's how hard these things are. But nevertheless, I'd like to hear you out, and please comment here on Twitter and let us know how we can make this better. Market update: a step back to a leap higher. I think so. This means what it means. I mean, right now we're not at 64 anymore. We're more around the 62. And I think so we could go down probably until like 58, 57 by the end of the week. Yeah, it sucks. But what do you want? You want to straight up? The higher it goes, the steeper it goes. At the end, the steeper will go lower. So you need these different plateaus. It's the head and shoulders. I mean, this is just finance. Those are listening here probably get it. Doesn't mean the bull run is over. People are talking about that. No, it's not. I mean, if you think that a trend reversal is something that will kill you, then stop investing. Just stop investing. Just don't do it. And it is what it is. I think so. What we really have to understand here is that there's massive outflows coming out of HitBTC for multiple different reasons. People are taking profits. People are shorting the markets. It's just a natural thing. And it's a very, very healthy thing. Again, it sucks to wake up and, check the SwissBorg app and lose, 5, 10, 12, 20% of your assets. But this is what it is, crypto. If you want astonishing returns and build wealth in a crazy way, you're going to have to take a very huge amount of risk for this. And that's the main reason why today you see that it's a very bloody day. It's a very bloody week, and things will get probably a little worse until we find the right plateau and the right support, and then we build further. What we could see as well is that the funding rates are getting a little bit better. So this is obviously something that's really good across all the different perpetual and futures exchanges and all the different tokens themselves, which is obviously something that is much better than it was. So less leverage. What we know is tomorrow we will have the Fed meeting that will happen. The rates won't change now, so there's no big announcement, I presume. Obviously, there's still things that are not looking good and different banks that are close to default. but that won't probably create the cutoff rates tomorrow. At least that's what the consensus strongly believe, that rates will be unchanged. But we're still planning for early summer, or at least in Q3, to have the rates cut and to bring the big party into crypto. Last but not least, Solana is just building great momentum. Everyone thinks it's just only about the meme tokens, and I don't think that is really true. The Solana ecosystem just flourishing as being a very, very, very great tool for building any application on it. Obviously, we've seen recently a lot of crazy meme tokens that are pumping, but there's as well, great projects such as Render, Helium, and many others in the DeepIn world that are great use cases, banks being built as well, and just a lot of TVL growth. I mean, I was talking to one of the founding teams of Camino, a true friend, and they were like a year ago, just like 12 months ago, pretty much. And they had like 2 million on their platform, 3 million, I don't know, something like really small on Camino, right? And I was just I was like, seriously, I mean, do you really think you should continue Solana, just open out something else? They're like, well, the tech is so great, there's this and that. And then I was like, yeah, but seriously, it's hard. They have now $1 billion of assets on their platform, right? That's 500x of growth. And that's the TVL right now. It's, north of 4 billion, which is really huge. And that has a lot to do, a lot of great things, just great DeFi applications, great DeepIn applications. There's AI things going on. There's meme tokens as well. This is really pumping the sphere, but that's not bad either. I mean, it's whatever, brings value to a network is something good. And nevertheless, not everything brings great value. Like this one was not the best one, no comment about that. But there's still a lot of great meme tokens. And by the way, shout out to CryptoCG here about this wonderful t-shirts. And please let us know what's the next meme token to list on the SwissBorg app. Now, if you look at this week, it's still a very complicated week. The Solana still is doing much better than the rest. There's as well some things glowing as well from the ecosystem of our wonderful competitor to Solana, which is Avalanche. So this is definitely the two different ecosystems that are still doing great within a very bloody week. And talking about great guys that are doing well, I think so. Joe has been really the one that is bringing great traction to Avalanche. We've listed this for a long time. It's one of the main DeFi token. They had NFTs in the past. They're essentially the one-stop shop for bridging assets, staking assets as well. You could exchange, swap any different type of DeFi tokens on essentially Joe Trader, which is really good. They are now multi-chain as well. So they're not only on Avalanche, they're as well on Arbitrum, and they have just signed a deal with the Mantle, and essentially they'll have a new token on through Joe, and essentially if you start buying some Joe, you'll be able to get some Mo, and that's a little bit like an airdrop or disguised airdrop that's happening. So that's the reason why people are very excited about Joe. And let's see what's all about Mo. Nozana, a new platform that has just been added as a token to SwissBorg. Essentially, what is Noz? It's essentially a competitor to Render, which is on the Solana project as well. What we like about this project is essentially that essentially decentralized computing power again, right? So it enables you to get cheaper, essentially GPU usage in a decentralized manner. It is obviously great for people to attract new projects. They have a great distribution as well through that. And of course, as we know, GPU usage, consumption essentially of computing power is just growing with obviously the AI and how these videos are going to be processed, but with video games, streaming as well. So let's have a little bit more look onto Nozana's ecosystem. The power of the AI revolution, I think so. This is obviously great. And of course, having a distributed ledger to enable to reward people, I think so, is something really good. So what they're really saying is consumers and miners and business can monetize their idle hardware by becoming Nozana node powered by Solana and the Noz token. So essentially something very similar to what we've seen with other different projects. This is definitely a huge thing. It's all about the deepen. If you look at the company itself, you could see that some of the founders have been into the space for a very long time. They have a good track record. Now let's look a little bit on their token itself. So let's take this to the pane of grain side, right? We've seen that this token has been released, a little bit a year ago, and then essentially it had a massive pump this year, right? We're talking about from 50 cents in the beginning of the year to $5. So it did already 10x, and that's a lot. 1,000% is just insane, right? And since day one, essentially did 2,000% because I think so. The small ICO that happened with only at 10 cents. But if you look now more into the market cap itself, it's still something that it's quite low, right? We're here at a 518 million market cap, and that is still, I mean, it's big, no doubt about that. But if you look at competitors such as Render, well, then you're very far from this, right? So if you look at Render right now, which is a more, definitely look at a bigger project. But if you look at them, they're at 6 billion, right? So if you compare these peers, it's definitely, I mean, much pricier than the beginning of the year. However, if they do grow their substantial model and we start analyzing on chain that there's essentially a lot of people that are processing and essentially renting out their computing power to farm the tokens, and behind there's actually a lot of people essentially buying their services, this could go obviously in a very nice direction, right? So this is something always to take with a grain of salt. It's a great company, it has a great project, it has a great theme. It still did a 10x compare of what has happened since the last 3 months, and it's still though at 90% cheaper essentially than Render itself. Galactica, very exciting news about Galactica. They're finally in testnet live, which is really good. So having more validators, but as well the Guardians, which essentially is SwissBorg. So how can you do Zika KYC through us? This is being implemented as we speak. So this is something that is really good news for that. Right now, there is some traction that's happening on Twitter, but as well on chain, there's more and more people that are trying out the test net. If you want to check it out here, please scan this and try to do the best out of it. Try to follow different quests, and I know they're going to have a great rewards, and some airdrops will be revealed for those people that are testing essentially the blockchain itself and trying to use it. So let's have a little update on what's happening with SwissBorg Alpha opportunities. So we have Victoria VR. It's going to be a new alpha deal that's coming to SwissBorg on Thursday. And lists what is Victoria essentially VR. So essentially Victoria VR, it's been essentially a project that's been launched already for a few years. What it is essentially is bringing the metaverse with VR combined with essentially crypto and blockchain technology. So this is where this something is a bit different from what we've seen so far. It's really a bit like the massive multiplayer online, and I think so. This is something that's really cool. It's built really with Unreal Engine, so it really feels like you're in something that is really immersed, even more with the whole Apple headsets, VR headsets or other ones. So I think so. This is something that is quite crazy. Let's go into it with more specifics. So here is the website of Victoria VR. What it is, as you see too, these harmonies, which is really well done. What you could do as well is that we could see. What's going to be quite interesting to see is like you could actually be buying lands a bit like Sandbox has happened. You'll be able to spend on building activities in it, building games in it, be able to make money out of it. And I think so this is something that is always very interesting, right? It's not about just playing a game. It's about building a platform where essentially then you could build within that. And you could do a lot of different things that go from hanging out, talking, do whatever you want. It's really a pure metaverse play, which I think so is very interesting. If you look at the partners that they have, they've done some good stuff so far, good investors as well. If you look at the token economics, so there is some staking, so you could buy staking, and I think this is something that we'll be looking into maybe with the SwissBorg, not yet confirmed, but it will be some staking. There's some DAO with the tokens itself. As I said, you could be buying lands, you could buy assets as well, and that's all type of wearables, whatever you want. There's advertisements that could be done, and Sandbox has been extremely successful like that. There's transport leasing and other extras, which seems quite interesting to see. Let's look a little bit more now at the game itself. So if you look now more at the game itself, you know, it has this Metaverse island inside of it, which looks really neat. There's a lot of different, you see here, there's like these different games that you could kill different zombies whatsoever there, which looks quite cool. Yeah, you could change, I think so. You see here by itself, it's not the best graphics, the games itself, to be honest. There's a lot of mini games within it, I think. So this is something that's very important to see. But there's as well the Metaverse that we're going to see right after. This is all these NFT galleries that are going on. The good thing is that actually I'll be having an interview very shortly with the founders. So we'll have more questions to ask them. Announcement of the week, which is support. There's two big ones. The first one, which is really nice, is to see that finally we have on our website all the alpha opportunities. So please check them out there. This really tracks the track record. Those you got in and the ones you didn't. And I think so there'll be more things going forward, like to propose as well for different projects. So this is something that's really cool. The second is for the UK, essentially residents and UK users. So far, as you know, at SwissBorg, we always done the best to make sure that we're compliant, and we really become one of the actor that is regulated and that respects essentially all the frameworks and jurisdictions in which we actively have users. So this is essentially in Europe, in Switzerland, and UK. For that reason, the sad part is that these are three different regimes and is obviously very complicated. In the recent outcomes is the FC has created a new different type of rules that enable really people to assert their risk and understand what is going on in the crypto world. And I think so, you know, all of these things seem to be a bit troublesome, but it's always for the best for the users, I think so, interests. And right now we are facing a new type of exigence that it really puts us into a way that we have to restrict for some time, essentially, some of the features on the SwissBorg app. And this is just momentary. Well, obviously, in the upcoming days and weeks, this will go back to normal. But essentially, many UK users will have to essentially go through different tests. That is essentially to understand what risk they're taking and understand essentially what are they investing in. And again, I think so. These type of tests will probably be common tests for all different markets. But it seems like UK are the first ones to really implement this. So if you have a little bit less good, I would say, experience going forward, that is normal. There will be some restrictions there. The number two is that we will essentially enable you guys to go through these different tests to really understand, making sure that you're understanding what you're doing. So say, for example, if you're investing less than 10% of your assets, that could be a good question that could enable you to pass on to the next one. And then you'll have to essentially have a lot of different appropriate tests to make sure that you know what you're doing. And yeah, please take this with a grain of salt. This is obviously very important for mass adoption. It's very important for us to keep on servicing in the best way possible our users, and of course to become financial independent and financial free going forward. So I hope you receive this message in a great way, and wish that everything goes as smoothly as we always do at SwissBorg. And talking about community members, shout out to SwissBorg Explained, our wonderful friend from Bern that is trying to bring more love to the Swiss Germans and the people that speak German across the world. So thank you very much for this. I would love to do as much as I can to help you out. So please reach out and let's bring the SwissBorg love around the German speaking countries. Next events is happening next week in London, this week in London, sorry, on the 21st, which is this Thursday, which is really cool. And next week, we're having another one here in Lausanne. That's going to be really fun with Elodie. So make sure that the one in London happens very well. And shout outs to, of course, our lovely workers there. Another fantastic event is happening in 2 weeks only from now in Crans-Montana. This time is the Metafest. It's really where the best entrepreneurs across the globe meet. It's all about AI, how to build a community, digital identity, and more than that, and the Web3 space and more. And there is a super ticket saver for our burgers. Many people have asked me this already. So here it is. You have 50% off for the people. So it's SB Pow Wow. Don't share it to the world, please. But at least here, and there's going to be a lot of great speakers. Here's a bit all the panels that's going to happen. And I heard that people that will come to it will have the possibility to participate in special alpha deals that will be pre-vested. So yeah, please turn out, show up. There's going to be a great day of sharing to the community, but then as well, learning a lot. And at the end, of course, a big party, as we like. And another great event that's going to happen, it's going to be with the new economics at Paris Blockchain Week. This is going to be a big one. It's going to be on the Péniche, an open bar that's going to happen with a lot of great stuff on it. Of course, there are going to be very interesting talks. This is with Human Protocol, our great friends here. There's going to be a lot of different things there. So scan and be part of it. Chart of the week of last week, crazy enough, but Ether was just bananas. And congrats for those who make it. It was really, really crazy. It went out in less than 30 seconds every vault. And that's like more than $3 million was raised in total, which is crazy. And only 2,000 people essentially were able to get subscriptions. Sorry for those that got canceled. I got 3 of them canceled myself. But that's how things usually do. And the good thing is that a lot of people that are actually community were able, of course, there's more community users as well, were able actually to get into these deals, which is really good. And there's even some standards, which got, if you look at the participation, of course, this still goes to majorly to the burgers. If you look at this going forward, it's probably going to change though, because obviously going to go to top burgers mainly. And talking about Wish, we are not at 50,000. I think we're probably at 50,000 today. Let's just say we're at 50,000 because this was from this morning. I'm sure we had added 4. So congratulations. We finally made it to 50,000 premium. We had a list bump minus what happened, and we're probably very close to 155,000 Borg token holders in the app, which is huge. And talking about this, today, celebrating the 4th year anniversary, we have the biggest exchange that has happened in 1 week, which is 206,000 exchanges, which is really, really, really nice to see that. The volume last week was massive as well, almost 170 million. We have, of course, 175 active users. People are finally waking up. 1.6 billion assets, which is amazing. Almost 4,361 people verified KYC. So still, we're very small there, and a nice inflow of 11 million last week. And just shout out here to, again, for those 4 years ago, Bitcoin was at $5,000. Ether was at $300 probably. Borg tokens at 2 cents. We didn't have any users. We had all these beautiful people from the community app and of course the ICO that were eager to really get into the SwissBorg, ecosystem. I love the fact that 4 years later we're celebrating this in the best way possible. Why again just show that the biggest amount of exchange that happened was this last week with 206,000. It really shows that our technology is growing, but the volume is still not there. We had 449 million that happened in volume in May 21. So there's still much more to be done. And that shows that we're not in the bull run yet. I mean, the big tip of the bull run. Active users, we had more than that, even have less people in May 21. The users' assets, we're getting closer, and that really shows that we've grown in terms of assets with 1.9 billion back then. Though, look, this change. This is how we're very far. 29,000 people that was verified in 21, where you had essentially only 4,300 this last week. And last but not least, the inflow back then was quite crazy as well, which was 124 million that happened in May 21. So there's still so much new records to be built, but already this last 4 years brings me a big smile. And with the big smile comes the community index. Cast your score. It's a big one. It's 9.5. And this is wonderful. Borger's 4-year anniversary. This is obviously very sentimental. This is really amazing. You know, don't get discouraged with what's happening on the price action. Of course, it sucks. It's just that it's very healthy though, right? You always have some pullbacks. If there's no pullback, then there's essentially a bubble that bursts and then it goes way down, way further down. So it always have these heads and shoulders, but you don't want the head and shoulders, knees and toes, right? That's where you go all the way down, and that's called the bear markets, right? We're still living the bull cycle, and there's much more. There's so much money will be poured in the upcoming days, and this is a great one to have new people come in, and as well people that wanted to buy Bitcoin at 72,000. Now they're like, okay, it's 62,000. That's 10,000 cheaper. Let's do it now, right? So I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be recharging. Myself, I recharged a bit earlier on, and we'll see how things continue. We might go to 57, 58, but I don't think so we'll go anytime lower than that. Besides that, 4-year anniversary, couldn't be more excited. It's beautiful to do this. It's amazing that we've been able to surf these waves together in a multiple way, that we've been gaining, you know, huge amount of wealth for many of us, and there's so much more to come. And for that, always be wealthy, be healthy, love our Borg and equity. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you for watching our weekly Pow Wow episode. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to leave a like. And if you didn't, tune in next week anyway, so that you can figure out if it's better then. Bye.